And we are live, Senators.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This is the Senate Institutions Committee. We're meeting on Tuesday, March 22nd. I'm Senator Dick McCormick, Vice Chair of the committee, presiding in the absence of the chair, who will be joining us soon. We have going around the table, we have Senator Ingalls, Senator Mazza, Senator Powell, and our topic right now, first topic is we're hearing from the Department of Corrections on an update. We do have an audience other than people who are actually involved in this work. So please, if you must use jargon, explain what it means. Okay, thank you. And we'll hear first from, and forgive me, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. Nicholas is DML.
Good morning, Senator. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Nick Demmel. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Corrections, and really appreciate the opportunity to be with you today to talk to you about the planning process for a new women's facility or facilities. So we've got with us a couple of our team members who are focused on this effort, and I hope we can get them to weigh in as well. With me, I've got Al Cormier, who's our Chief of Operations, Matt D'Agostino, who is our Interim Deputy Commissioner, Kathy Aston-Borski, who is our new Director of Women's Services. We're excited to introduce her to this committee. She will also be championing our effort to guide the department through the planning process and get us through our decision points when we hit those points along the way. And then I think there's also one of our colleagues from BGS here, and I'll let her introduce herself if she'd like, who can weigh in on any of the construction RFP type process. But I thought first it might be helpful to give you an update on the timeline and where we are in that from initial RFP to the second RFP. And for that, I think I'll hand it over to Al to give you an update on where we've been and where we are in the process now. And then maybe Kathy can speak to how we're managing our planning process and where we're going in the future.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. Al Cormier, Chief of Operations for the Department of Corrections. So we are moving forward with this project, working collaboratively with BGS. They have submitted the RFP that is on the street for review and bidding. We have a meeting, I believe it's next week, on the status of the bid, and then Sabrina Koresh from BGS can certainly speak more to that. But we continue to meet with BGS on a regular basis regarding the status of that RFP and our own internal working group, comprised of Kathy Aston-Borski, our facilities director, Matt Nault, Desiree Crump, who's the assistant superintendent at the current Chittenden Regional Correctional Facility, and various other members. We've recently met with the DV network, the state network, with the advocacy groups that are providing services and programs inside of Chittenden currently, bringing them in as stakeholders for communication and their thoughts and ideas on moving forward with this project and what those programs may look like, both inside of the current facility as well as the women's reentry facility, should that actually come to fruition. Members of our DOC team are traveling to Maine this week to view the current reentry facility that the Maine Department of Corrections hosts and operates. We'll be checking out that facility as well as discussing their programs with them regarding reentry and workforce. We'll be checking out their program building, which is a newly constructed building that was just completed this summer. So we're hoping to bring back some thoughts and ideas, and having discussion with them on pain points, lessons learned in their construction of their project, and looking forward to moving forward with our own project.
questions from the committee? Or did you just go silent, or are you done?
No, that was really
Okay.
it at this point. Unless there are questions, certainly happy to answer.
Committee?
No.
No? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. First, before we go any further, Commissioner, I want to apologize for not knowing how to pronounce your name. I've heard it spoken. I had never actually seen it written out. I didn't make the connection. I do apologize.
No, it's no problem at all. You know, for a 4-letter name, people sure do have a hard time with it. So I apologize for my forebears deciding that was what we were going by.
I pictured 2 M's and an E and a double L at the end or something. So, oh no, my God, hold on, I'm gonna get it. Kathy Astomborski. Am I close? You're muted.
Kathy, we can't hear you.
No, we're still silent.
Well, I think you did get the name right, but now we can't hear her confirm that.
Yeah.
See what you can plug in.
I'm hearing noise.
Does that work at all?
Yes,
There we go.
we got you.
All right, good. So you got the name, that was perfect. So I'm just starting as the Director of Women's Services. And last week we had sort of a kickoff meeting with some of the stakeholders who we wanted to hear from regarding the facility plans. We met with some folks from the Vermont Network and Vermont Works for Women, Mercy Connections, and Lund, and had a great conversation that was just intended to really listen to them and hear what their ideas were, concerns, and I think it was a great conversation, and I think the beginning of having a lot of interaction with those stakeholders as we move forward. And as Chief Cormier said, we're going to the facility in Maine this weekend, which I'm really looking forward to. I've heard a lot of great things about the facility and the department, but also that our department, has a lot of things already online that are, maybe from a philosophy standpoint as well. So I think it's going to give us some good ideas to build on, but that we've got a lot of energy going into this project, and that we have a lot of opportunity to really make this facility work for the population that we serve.
So,
Yeah,
so this is going to be a different facility outside of the prison, and it will be a transition period into this other facility, and they're not done their sentences yet, but they're getting towards the end of their sentences, and this is going to help them transition back into society. Is that the plan?
It's definitely a work in progress, and there's a lot of decisions to be made, but reentry is going to be a big focus. And the facility that we're visiting in Maine, they actually have 2 buildings, and one is focused on reentry. So we have a couple different options available to us that we still need to work through. But as I said, reentry is going to be a big focus, and that we want to put a lot of things in place to make that a more meaningful process that the women go through as they go back into the community.
And is it being developed because the program, the system that is in place now, is it working? There's too much recidivism, or what's the emphasis on the new program? What's causing it? What's causing the whole the new building, the new program? What's the reason behind it?
I can take that one. It's a multi-level, multifaceted approach in what we're taking, but really the impetus behind this is the condition and the age of the current facility. The current Chittenden facility, built in 1970, I believe. The deferred maintenance on that building is pretty high. There's a lot of work that needs to be done inside that building. to really bring it up to an environment where we see it as really being able to humanize the experience inside for both the staff and the incarcerated population, really bringing a more gender responsive approach to our supervision and how we conduct our programming. The topic of a new women's facility has been on the agenda for quite a while, and as we started in on our work with the Prison Research and Innovation Network project, and then visited the main facility, I think starting 2 years ago with our work with UVM and UVM's work with the University of Southern Maine. Everything that we began to learn about the Maine Department of Corrections, they offered a lot of what we would like to implement here in Vermont. So where we started with basically talking about a new women's facility, then we really started, after seeing what they offer, really started focusing on the reentry aspect of it, given the custody level of a majority of our population coming back as furlough returns, hoping that we can prepare them better for return to the community. As Kathy said, the reentry program will be a big component of that. Our work with the advocates in the community and designated agencies will hopefully assist us in preparing that population for a return, a successful return.
Thank you.
Okay. The idea of reentry, that's sort of based on the other, that statistically, if I understand it correctly, statistically, women are less likely to be in trouble for physically violent behavior. It's a lot of bounce checks and selling drugs and so on. But there are some who have been pretty brutal. They're outliers, but are they included in the reentry philosophy?
Well, they would be. I think historically in Vermont, the way sentencing works, pretty much everybody's getting out of jail at some point. And we have to prepare everybody for that. And while we do have people convicted of murder and people awaiting trial for murder inside our women's facility now, there's a strong possibility that they may eventually make parole and be returned to the community, and we have to get them ready as well. I think historically we see a lot of victimization issues with the population that comes through that front door at Chittenden. We want to help them deal with those issues through the work and the trauma work and the gender responsive work. And giving them the tools to succeed once they leave. So yeah, I think we have to incorporate everybody into our reentry planning.
We haven't gone through the full list, but let me say, I'd like someone from corrections to kind of explain what exactly the program involves. We don't do program, we do bricks and mortar, but we're doing bricks and mortar to house a program. So I want to have some sense of whether we're doing it right.
Kathy, you want to take that? I know we've got current programming, and then we've got a vision of what we'd like program to potentially be. So I can turn that to Kathy.
Yes, I mean, that definitely is still under development, and we'll be looking at a lot of different options. But certainly we want to incorporate trauma-informed programs, as well as vocational opportunities to make that transition easier. We'll be working with probably the vendors that we are currently working with to create better spaces for those programs, so that they will, potentially be more effective, or that we can involve more women. Programming with women also always involves connecting with their children, and maintaining those relationships where possible. Trying to help the families move through the incarcerated time that the mom is serving. So there's lots of different aspects that we're looking at, and we'll be, and plus, I mean, the facility's several years out. So we currently have a lot going on at the Chittenden facility that we're going to be looking at trying to enhance as well.
And what we're looking at here, getting back to bricks and mortar, so the program is still a work in progress. You don't actually have a program to show us at this point.
No,
No, we wouldn't have a program as far as what the specific reentry program is.
Okay.
This is part of the team that we've comprised with members of our team, BGS, and then conversations with our community providers to really build that. What do they want to see?
So we're still at the philosophical level.
Yes.
Okay, and we can look forward to a program being there. But on the bricks and mortar, is this going to be a reworking of the existing facility in Chittenden County, or are you talking about a new location?
Well, this is what the next phase of this feasibility study will determine, and BGS can speak to this as well. But part of what we need to find is we need to find a site for this new facility. We need to determine if it is indeed a standalone reentry facility, if it's combined with a new medium security facility. Is it? There are several things that we need to determine through the next phase. Once the contractor is selected, and we'll be working with them along with BGS on site selection, building size, building design. It's very early in those stages.
Shall we hear from Mr. D'Agostino?
Senator, good afternoon, everyone. I'm not sure that I have anything more to add that hasn't already been said, unless anyone has any questions specific to the funding in the capital bill for the work that's being done toward this.
Okay, committee, and before we get to move on to BGS. Yeah, I'm just going to put in 2 cents. I appreciate, I think it's a valid point that when you're dealing with women, you got to deal with the fact that many of them are parents. I just want to throw in, that's also often the case with the men. For what that's worth. Okay, next up is from BGS. I don't see Joe Asher here.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here?
But
Let's
it's
go.
I know, I'm coming live.
Take a seat.
I actually want to defer it to Brina Karish first, and I'll back her up.
Okay,
If needs be.
For project.
Yes.
welcome.
You got lucky you didn't have to pronounce my name.
Oh, Sabrina Karish. You know, that's a long name, but it's phonetically very easy.
So I am Sabrina Karish. I am the project manager with BGS. As Al had said, we are currently on the street accepting proposals for A&E services for the next phase of the feasibility study. Bids are actually due tomorrow, and then we'll enter the selection process. And we hope to have a contract in place in May, and then we will begin the design process. And I don't have much else to add, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Hey. Senator Mosley, you must have questions. Want to ask him about planning?
Didn't know if it was privatizing it or not.
Senator Mazza wants to know if you're thinking of privatizing. He doesn't mean that. That was just to see if he could get a rise out of me.
Say that was a question for DOC.
I didn't know why you were here. I didn't know what you were. This is why you stopped in. I didn't know why. I didn't know why you were here. You're in support of privatizing, right?
Depends what you're privatizing.
No, the facility, yeah.
No.
Okay.
Well, we're moving right along. Eric, you want to talk to us?
We're all here generally to support the policy effort of Eric Philcorn, BGS, for the record. We BGS are in a support capacity to help execute the policies that are determined by corrections. So we stand ready. As Sabrina said, we're going to have I think we're going to have RFP responses in another week or so. And we just keep this process moving. There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of things to look at. there are a lot of ways this can come together. And so our job over the next almost not quite a year is to really thoroughly vet all of those options, look what makes sense for best practices for what they're trying to do, look at what properties are on the table, both ones that we currently control and stuff that's available out there, and figure out the best mix of elements to keep this project moving forward at the speed of government.
Maybe faster.
What an easy task. You got a big job ahead of you.
Committee, I think we're poised to set a world record. Any further questions?
I'm good. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
I feel the need to stretch this out, so I'll be taken seriously in the future.
You got a fine chair.
Did I get
You
fined?
did a fine chair.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
Thank you all. If there's no further business, I'll adjourn the committee for the day.
That was good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
I'm gonna take us